Have you ever noticed that one person in the room who stays almost unnaturally calm when everything goes wrong? The server crashes, a patient suddenly declines, a client threatens to walk, everyone else is talking too fast, moving too fast, breathing too fast. And then there is that one person who barely blinks. Their voice gets quieter, not louder. Their hands stay steady. From the outside, it looks like strength. It looks like someone who was born with nerves of steel. But a lot of the time, that is not what you are looking at. Sometimes you are looking at a nervous system that learned, a long time ago, that feeling everything in the moment would be too dangerous. So instead of panicking, it powers down. Instead of flooding with visible fear, it goes cold, narrow, and efficient. What gets praised as calm under pressure is often a freeze adaptation wearing a professional suit. That matters, because the difference between peace and shutdown changes everything. In trauma psychology, people usually talk about fight, flight, and freeze. Freeze is quieter. Freeze is when the system decides that full emotional contact with the moment is too much, so it reduces access. You keep functioning, but with less feeling. You can still move. You can still speak. You can still solve the problem, but part of you is gone from the room. That state is often called hypo-arousal. It does not always look like collapse. Sometimes it looks like competence. That is why this pattern gets missed so often. The person in hypo-arousal does not always look broken. They often look impressive. They are the one everyone calls when the situation turns ugly. They can make decisions fast. They can step over their own emotions and keep going long enough to get everyone else through the fire. I have seen this in myself before. There were situations that should have hit me harder in the moment, but instead I felt almost nothing. Not courage, not peace, just a strange flatness. It was like the system decided, we are not doing feelings right now. We are doing survival. At the time, that can feel useful. Later, you realize how expensive that usefulness really is. Because the cost never disappears. It just arrives late. That is the part workplaces rarely understand. Modern organizations often love the person who can function inside chaos without visibly breaking. They call that person resilient, dependable, leadership material. They become the fixer, the crisis cleaner, the one who gets the late-night call because everyone assumes they can handle it. And maybe they can. But handling something and processing it are not the same thing. A person who learned to shut down under pressure may keep delivering excellent work long after their inner life has gone numb. They can finish the shift, close the incident, calm the room, send the follow-up email. Then they go home and stare at the wall, or sit in the car for 20 minutes without turning the key, or feel absolutely nothing at dinner. That is not serenity. That is delayed damage. This is why I think a lot of organizations misunderstand the very people they rely on most. It is actually not hard for a workplace to care about an employee on paper. The harder part is recognizing who is surviving through shutdown instead of thriving through stability. If a company keeps rewarding output without ever asking what state the person is in while producing it, then it is not supporting resilience. It is harvesting endurance. And if you keep forcing someone who already functions through old trauma to absorb more pressure, they may continue to perform. That is the trap. They will still finish the task. They may even look fine doing it. But still functioning is not proof that the system is healthy. Sometimes it only proves that the person has been disconnected from their own warning signals for a very long time. That is why the real question is not, can they do the job? The real question is, what is it costing them to keep doing it this way? A healthier workplace would not just glorify the employee who never panics. It would create conditions where people do not have to numb out to stay effective. That means clearer communication, more realistic expectations, Better training for managers so they can tell the difference between calm and dissociation. Because here is the hidden danger. When numbness keeps getting rewarded, people stop trying to come back into full feeling. They start mistaking shutdown for maturity. A person who is praised for being unshakable at work can slowly become unreachable at home. Their partner says, "You never react." Their friends say, "Nothing seems to get to you." On the surface, it sounds like a compliment. Underneath, it can mean, "You are no longer fully here." The saddest part is that many people in this pattern do not even realize what they have lost until the crisis ends and ordinary life feels strangely colorless. They can perform under emergency conditions, but they do not know how to relax in safety. The storm makes sense to them. Peace does not. And peace is not the same thing as numbness. To me, real peace is health. It is family. It is children being okay. It is enough money that your body is not bracing every second. It is waking up without an immediate sense of threat. It is having a life where things are stable enough that you do not need to disappear inside yourself just to get through the day. That is very different from standing in front of a fresh problem and feeling nothing because you have already survived too many worse ones. One is peace. The other is overexposure. So what do you do if you recognize yourself in this? First, stop calling it a superpower every time it hurts you. If your calm only appears when your feelings go offline, then calm is not the whole story. Second, notice the delayed crash. Track what happens after the emergency, not just during it. Do you go blank? Do you isolate? Do you lose language for what you feel? Do you become irritable, wired, or completely flat? The aftermath tells the truth. Third, rebuild access to your body in small ways before the next crisis arrives. Not huge, dramatic healing rituals. Just simple acts that tell the nervous system it no longer has to live on emergency settings. Drink water slowly. Feel your feet on the floor. Say out loud what happened after the event is over. Name one emotion instead of pretending there were none. Let someone safe know you are not actually fine. And if you lead other people, do not just praise the calmest person in the room. Ask them how they are doing after the room empties. Because the person who looks the steadiest in chaos may be the one paying the highest internal price. There is nothing wrong with being capable under pressure. That ability can save lives, careers, families, entire teams. But it should not be the only gear you know how to live in. If you can function in the fire but cannot feel in the quiet, that is not freedom yet. The goal is not to become less capable. The goal is to become safe enough that capability is no longer built on disappearance. So if you are the person everyone admires in a crisis, ask yourself one honest question when the room goes silent. Am I peaceful right now, or have I simply gone numb again? The answer to that question might be the beginning of your real recovery.